And then we can also then provide an opportunity for people to come and talk about if there's an initiative or project that they're currently working on that they would like people to learn about. And then we're going to move into breakout sessions based on specific topics. At that time, Kelly's going to go into what the purpose of those breakout rooms and how we want to make sure they're as impactful as possible. And then afterwards, we'll come back and we can reflect on what was learned or what was said or next steps. And what we want to make sure we do is understanding how we move into a direction of action after this. And if you're taking action on your own or as a group or with us, everything is welcome. We will support you no matter what. So I guess I should have started actually with land acknowledgement, which we haven't been doing. And I need to find, sorry about this. I had it up. Okay, and so I'd like to begin our event tonight with a land acknowledgement, as it's important to the Waterloo region grassroots response to the Ukrainian crisis. As we continue down the path towards together in reconciliation. And with that said, we acknowledge with gratitude that we have gathered. I'm currently in Wilmot Township, which is in Waterloo region. It's on the territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee and Mississaugas people. I also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations from the year before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth, that we should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish spoon. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community. There are a number of ways that you can support the local Indigenous community, such as Indigenous Food Sovereignty Collective of Waterloo Region, Healing of the Seven Generations, and also the Wilmot Family Resource Center. Each of you guys would have your own land acknowledgement. So I just want to take a few seconds for everyone just to reflect on tonight where you are in the importance of your heritage and kind of what's brought you here tonight. And we'll just do that for about 15 seconds, please. Okay, thank you so much. So then next we're going to move into our, sorry, this is all new, virtual. I don't normally run the virtual one. We're usually in person. So what we're going to do for format from now on, just to let everyone know that every other week on the Friday, we will be only virtual. Then in the alternate Thursday of the following weeks, will be virtual and in person. So therefore, we have the opportunity to be in person every 2 weeks, but we are always meeting virtual, either on the Friday or the Thursday. Also, I should acknowledge who we are. Waterloo Region Green's Grassroots Response is just a collective of community members that came together about 4 weeks ago. The idea was started about 4 weeks ago, literally kind of pushed it out as an idea to the world and saw who decided to jump on board. And then we had our first event a week after, and now this is our third event. Since then, we have grown in exponential rate with support. And I understand that there's currently about 230 people who have requested to volunteer with us. We're slowly getting through that list because we want to make sure that there is some support network within our team to offer support to these growing teams. But we also need to recognize that there's probably support people or leadership opportunities that we're not aware of within the people that want to help. So if you feel that you have a leadership skills, or you'll want to jump in with a few of the people to organize something and you're really passionate about it, please reach out to us and it'll help us filter through some of the masses of people that we're trying to engage with. So afterwards, you can speak to me, but we have a lot of need for various things such as volunteer management, information management, marketing, as well as communications, and then our teams for, which we'll talk about later, which would be housing, partnerships, business relationships. So yes, lots of things. So we're going to go into our first speaker. Is Tim Lewis here? MP Lewis, sorry. There he is. Okay, so MP Lewis is gonna give us an update for about 5-10 minutes on what the federal government is doing. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. And then if there's time, we can field those questions, Tim.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you everybody for being here. It's inspirational to see everyone. I do apologize if anyone was talking in the off the top. I thought it was awfully quiet before we started, but it was because my audio was not set up properly. So if anyone was asking me questions and I looked dismissive, I did not mean to be. My volume was down. So thank you, Stephanie, for organizing this. Thank you, everyone, for stepping up. I think you said almost 250 people that are willing to help. It is absolutely amazing and inspirational that this started off as grassroots and it's growing and growing and growing. We're going to need all levels of government. We're going to need volunteers. We're going to need everybody to help out. And you can see you're already doing your part and you're basically inspiring. So I'll give you the quick federal update, but I'm here mostly to learn and see how I can help. The program to bring people over now, that temporary residency program, is completely open. It's been open for about a week. Before that program opened, there were many people from Ukraine came here. That was through the traditional methods, the regular immigration. Almost all of them had family, friends, church supports here to bring them here. And so the next batch of people that are coming is from this new program, where it's the fastest way to bring people over was using this temporary residence program. It's an existing program that didn't have us change anything. As a matter of fact, all we had to do was strip down some of the requirements and make it as simple as we just needed to take biometrics, which is a fancy word for people's fingerprints in a picture, and then they can come here as fast as possible. What we've traded in speed to get people out of Ukraine safely and into Canada safely is going to be some of that unknowns. You're going to hear the answer. We're still working on that. We're still working on that. But we couldn't wait. We couldn't wait the months it would take to put a new system in place. So that program has been opened. It was opened about a week ago, which means in about a week, we're going to see a large influx of this new batch of people coming, newcomers coming from Ukraine. Almost exclusively going to be women, children, and elderly. For obvious reasons, the men have stayed behind. So that's what you're here to help for and to prepare for. I just took some quick notes as I'm going. The first wave had connections, and now we're going to have people who don't know anyone in Canada, and that's why what you're doing is so important. Our job is to bring them here safely. In the notes, unfortunately, I saw someone, I think it was Serge, who'd said that families are getting scammed, and that's something we have to watch out for, because when people are vulnerable, others will prey on them. So I've had a number of meetings about that in Ottawa about scamming. Unfortunately, too, the other issue is human trafficking. It is existing there in outside of Ukraine, and we're concerned about it here. So as much as people want to help and as compassionate as they are about doing it safely, we know you're here to help, but not everybody is. So we just have to have that extra level of safety and precaution, which is something to be conscious of. We're also working on transportation. That came up last week. We're seeing if we can get planes to come back and forth and work with partners, because again, that first batch of people that came, they had a pathway. Someone paid for their tickets and they came over. So we're referring to that as an air bridge. We're trying to make sure there's some sort of an air bridge, work with partners to bring people here. So that again is in progress. We're working on making sure we're getting more and more resources in our teams in cities that can process these cases. We can't go into Ukraine, but we're on the borders. And we even have mobile processing units where we can move where the people are. This is a very fluid situation. So we're set up in many cities right outside of Ukraine, and we're moving around with mobile units to make sure we can process people and get them here as fast as possible. We're working with the provinces. When I talked about that, the conditions that we dropped all the requirements. So this is not a refugee status. People aren't coming in as refugees. They're coming in as temporary residents. By dropping all those requirements and coming in as temporary residents, not as refugees, what you might hear in the news is what happens to the supports. If you come here as a refugee, you're automatically eligible to get a lot of the healthcare, the education, the things that come with that. By taking those requirements off the application and getting people here fast, right now, on paper, they don't have that. We're working on those supports as well. Those supports are under the provincial's jurisdiction. So right now, only 3 provinces have signed up to do their share as far as supplying the healthcare and the education. That's BC, Alberta, and Quebec. So if you think about it, all the O's in OHIP and OW, ODSP, all of that O stands for Ontario. So we're still working with Ontario to try and get them to step up. I've had conversations with our MPP, and I don't mind asking you to express to him the importance of letting the provincial government know here that those obviously healthcare, that social safety net is so very important. And we're negotiating, working with them to see how we can cooperate together, because we all want to bring people over. I've also, last week, if you remember, there were some people that said some of the Ukrainian community here felt a bit harassed, and it's absolutely abhorrent to think that, you know, having a Ukrainian flag on your car or in your house or in a store leaves you targeted to hate crimes. And I personally reached out and had a conversation with the chief of police, and I expressed that to him. He said he was going to look in for specific cases because it had shades of what happened to our Southeast Asian and Asian community during COVID, people that were picked on for where they came from and how they looked. We want to make sure that does not happen. The chief is not aware of any specific cases that happened here in our region, but he knows it's happening in regions around the country. So the message he said is that they're, on it. He's looking into it more. And he did ask, if you hear it, even anecdotally from someone, that they hear about some sort of hate crimes related to the Ukrainians coming over, please contact the authorities. The best way to help is to let them know so they can build cases and they can work on that and then put the resources where they need them. So, and he appreciates that you brought that up because that's our community. That's what we do. We look out for each other. Putting together. Oh, also because of all the information, and there's so much ways of people, how they can help and donate. My office is also taking a newsletter, a kind of a digital newsletter with all sorts of links on how people can donate, help, volunteer. And with your permission, I'd like to put your organization on there as well, just to let people the amazing work you're doing. So that should be out in a matter of days, and then I'll send that out to as many people as possible. It's got all the buttons for how you can help, and you're a big part of it. It's amazing to see your organization up there with, the Canadian Red Cross and some other names, and equal billing as far as I'm concerned. So thank you for that. And that's my report. I will stick around. I've got until about 8 o'clock, shortly after probably the breakout is usually when I have a standing meeting tonight, but I will check the chat and I'll do my best to answer any questions. My office is here to help, and mostly I'm here to listen. So it's, like I said, it's everybody working together. Just let me know how I can help you. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone put their hand up? If you don't know how to put your hand up, you click on the button at the very bottom of the screen that says reactions, and there's a raise hand option. Okay.
There's a question from Galtham, I believe.
Hello, Tim. Good evening. A quick question regarding, education. I previously worked in Conestoga and Mohawk. I was the International Students Recruitment Officer for Eastern Europe and South Asia. And I lived in Ukraine for 20 years. My spouse is Ukrainian. My 2 kids were born in Ukraine. So we have many Ukrainians. I am providing free services, legal services, assisting Ukrainians. In the last 5 days since the program started, we've done over 500, assisted 500 applications, Ukrainians to go through the whole process, and we're doing it every day. As we speak now, my staff in Ukraine, my team in Ukraine are still awake. It is, I think it's midnight 1 a.m. and they're still working with applications, assisting the Ukrainians out there. So there are, Ukrainian families with kids who just finished their high school in the first and second year of the college, and it's a big concern. I really request your help to consider colleges and universities in Canada to provide tuition fees. If it is possible, obviously, right? The least they could do is, at least provide the tuition fees at the same tuition as the domestic students, right? International students pay 3 times more. For example, in Conestoga, my colleague Paula is here as well. So international students pay about 17,000 to 18,000 Canadian dollars for 1 year tuition fees. Local domestic students pay about $5,000 to $6,000. I understand, yes, if it was a refugee situation, it would have been free. But again, until the whole process comes in and until Ukrainians could get the refugee status, right, kids need to go to school. Schooling is free, but again, to the college. So please, if you can look into that, that would really, really be helpful.
That's first of all, thank you for that advocacy and how hard you're working. That's amazing that you're doing that. So I think everyone here appreciates that. I speak on everyone's behalf, but I will look into that because mostly when they're talking about students and families, we're talking about younger children. But post-secondary, I can't imagine, having this, being able to be in post-secondary and then being ripped away and not being able to do that. And you're right, the international students are paying exponentially more here. So I will definitely bring that up and see if that's something, again, probably have to work with the provinces to do that. But, and also that would also they could offer housing as well, if you're talking about student dorms and places to live. So that would tick off a number of boxes. So I haven't heard that conversation, which is why I appreciate so much you bringing it up. So I promise you I'll get back to you on that one. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
So Tim, I just wanted to verify. So the process now is you don't need to have a family member to come to fill the application. Is that correct?
That is correct. And also, in addition, someone can fill that application out on your behalf. Not everybody has access. So if there is a possibility that it doesn't have to be you filling that out, because that's a barrier we don't want. People are fleeing their country. So if if there was a way of connecting, you could fill it on behalf of someone coming over.
Now, we spoke with Gotham yesterday regarding the rule that technically if someone's filling the paperwork out for you, you have to be an immigration consultant, like a certified immigration consultant.
I am not sure on that one. I don't want to give the wrong answer. I'd rather say I don't know. So let me find that one out.
So basically, just to add, when we go to the portal, there is a question where clearly IRCC stipulates if there is anybody applying on your behalf, we have to indicate yes and no. And if it is yes, then we have to indicate, usually it is immigration consultants by law in Canada. Only immigration consultants and immigration lawyers can give this advice. So we all the people who are applying will have to get the approval from the applicant, from the person and the signature to upload it. But again, yes, as you mentioned, it doesn't have to be, but again, by law, only immigration consultants and immigration lawyers in Canada are authorized to provide services. Anything related to IRC, it is the law.
I will look into that, and possibly as early as in a few minutes, if I can reach the right people. So I'd rather, like I said, I'll look into it. But yes, thank you for
Larissa?
that.
I did it. I know that it's possible. I checked that I am not paid representative, that I am not legally educated or whatever, licensed, but it's possible. I did it for people. Yes.
Well, there's proof. I will confirm.
This is exciting because there's many people understand the backlog and how we can help bring more Ukrainians here. It's, and there's a lot of people that want to help translation and can speak and would like to help data and can fill out forms, and they've already indicated that. So that could be something that we would look into, or we would want to look into now, if Tim can confirm that. I'm sorry, MP Lewis can confirm that.
It's Tim. Can I duck in for a second, Steph? Only because I found some more information in my notes from things.
Yeah.
Elementary and high school students can be registered and start attending school as soon as they arrive in Canada. That's one. But I did notice, Gautam, that it said elementary and high school. And then the next paragraph, my notes say, anyone looking for a study as post-secondary student can apply for a free study permit once they're on Canada soil. Okay, so that's a permit. I guess that would be like a student visa. It doesn't mean that the schooling is free, but they're eligible to go to school. So, okay. And reading it out loud, it doesn't answer your question, but at least we know that they're eligible to go. But you're saying, can we make it as affordable as anyone here? So thank you. I'm going to look into that.
Thank you. Natalia?
Hello, everyone. I have a question, and I just wanted to advocate for something else. So I have a question about whether these people who come here will be eligible for English classes, for example, for the language for newcomers program, like language instruction for newcomers. I'm asking because they don't have that status of refugee or newcomer to Canada, and those people might really need it. And these are classes for adults, right? So that's my question.
I know, Natalia, I know that's being discussed right now, and I think that has to do with the provinces not, but that was the confusion when you say if they're refugees, they're automatically eligible, and if they're not, are they eligible is a natural question. So the answer is I don't know, but we're working on that as fast as we can because we know that that's going to be, language is going to be really important.
Thank you.
I can answer that question actually.
And Lindsay can answer it better than me.
Sorry, I just happen to know. So unfortunately, the provincial classes that I know in Waterloo region is provided through the university, they will not be available to anyone that are coming from the Ukraine. However, the classes that are provided through the YMCA and the KW immigration service, I cannot remember the name of it, I believe it's multicultural service, they will be available to the Ukrainian citizens. So if they need the English classes, we'll get them directly through the YMCA. Anyone coming, the first thing we are always telling them to do is get to the YMCA meeting, apply immediately. They can get you into classes. They can help with a lot of things very quickly.
So I just want to jump in. Juan, are you here from the YMCA?
Hi, Steph, from the Multicultural Center.
Yeah, sorry, multicultural. It's
Okay,
Terry that's from the YMCA. Sorry, Multicultural Center. Do you have any anything you want to comment about the courses in English sessions?
I actually don't have any information right now about the eligibility for our English conversational programs yet, but I can follow up with our executive director and I can report back next week. We are slowly trying to, I guess, like MP Tim Lewis mentioned, we're anticipating the arrival of Ukrainian individuals coming in the next couple of weeks. So we should have more details about how that's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks in terms of programs and accessibility.
Thank you. Natalia?
Can I just add something? Well, when we talk about YMCA courses, well, they only have conversation circles. Well, they also test for other programs, for example, for the LINK program with Conestoga College. And the reason I know about it is because I teach there. So to qualify for the federal program, for the LINK program, they have, I mean, these people have to have like the status. So there are different language programs, but like conversation circles are, it's great. I mean, they're great, but usually like those people who arrive in Canada, they need more substantial, like, you know, courses or something like that. So it would be great if they have that opportunity. So this is something that we definitely need to advocate for. Thank you. And the provincial courses, this is a totally different system. So there are provincial courses, there are federal courses, and there are conversation circles. These are different things.
I second with Natalia because there are two groups of people coming in. One first would probably be people who need just conversational English, which YMCA might be okay. And second, there are young people who need academic English, right, to get them into their colleges or universities to go ahead with their studies. Thank you, Natalia.
Yeah, just again, unfortunately, anything that is through the government, we are not unable to access with refugees. The YMCA, we were told that they can take in, and that has been confirmed from Michael. But yeah, anything governmental, we're being told will not be allowed if it's a refugee item.
Also, to add a little bit to the complexity of it is, as people are already working on processing coming over, we don't know how many people are intending or staying. A lot of people we're hearing are saying, look, we're just coming over until this over. Thank you, until this war is over. Thank you for, taking us in. We look forward to going back. So we even don't have those numbers. As people are coming in, are they planning on staying here? Or are they planning on saying, look, I can't wait to go back and I'm sure it won't be long. There's a bit of an extra confusion that doesn't make it extra challenge, I should say.
Yes, and just to add what Tim mentioned, the refugee program, it's a very bureaucratic and a complex program. It takes many months. And what the government has actually done ad hoc is give it the opportunity to come on a work visa. But again, if what is missing is the medical and the social support is missing, right? If you can get that figured out, this is a brilliant. And then, as Tim had mentioned, most of them might probably want to just come here, look if they have relatives, and if they feel comfortable, they might stay here. If not, they might go back again. It's not a situation where the government is flying in people like it happened in Afghanistan. It's more on a it's kind of a situation where they are interested in coming, and there are many people coming in. On the long term, I think, yes, the refugee program might be coming in, but only for the selected people who would want to stay, right? Yeah, thank you, Tim. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. So next, did you want to do an update from the Kidderby Multicultural? Maybe something even repeat of just briefly what you talked about last week, or?
Yeah, so we're just looking we're anticipating the arrival, right? I guess some of the things, individuals on their temporary resident bases have very restrictive rights and can access very little services. I guess something that I was thinking about right now is through our library settlement partnership. We have settlement workers who operate in the Kitchener, Waterloo, and I believe the YMCA also have settlement workers operating in the Cambridge libraries, and they do have programs such as conversation English circles. They do take individuals regardless of status. Like, status is not something that they're focusing on in terms of registration. So we sometimes forward people to those libraries to seek out activities such as English conversation circles, or if they want to learn a new craft or something. I know that's not something that a lot of individuals are looking to get involved with, such as post education, but that's something that they can look into as well, right? Right now, we're just waiting, again, hearing what the federal government is gonna kind of put in there in terms of flexibility and trying for us to assist people with temporary residency status. Again, we are very restricted based on funding, so we're looking anxiously to see what change is going to happen for the situation.
Okay, thank you so much. And Gotham, did you want to do your presentation?
Yeah, yes. So, it was just a short update, what I understood talking to Lisa and Steph was about the concerns, why aren't the Ukrainian families here till now, right?
Gotham, do you want to say who you are?
Okay, let me introduce myself again.
Introduce yourself, and you're joining our team, and hopefully, build out, like, this is not you just as a guest speaker, this is you hopefully being a part of this community. And then also, as well as while you're talking and while people are listening to this, and what we're hearing from people is that potentially, people from the community can help provide some forms of assistance for the application process. And what would that look like, and maybe exploring that as you part of our team.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Hello, everybody. Once again, my name is Gautam Koludi, and I am here based in Cambridge, and I am an immigrant myself. I moved here as an adult student from Ukraine. I lived in Ukraine for 20 years. I'm married to a Ukrainian. My wife was born and brought up in Ukraine. My two kids were born in Ukraine, in Kyiv, Ukraine. My third child was born here in Canada. And, I moved to Ukraine from South India, and I studied in Ukraine, and I lived there for 20 years. And before I moved to Canada, I'm a naturalized permanent resident of Ukraine. And what we are trying to do is, I'm also a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and an international education consultant. And I've been working with Ukrainians for many years. We bring in students from Ukraine and many other countries to Conestoga College. We have, through my firm, we have almost about 150 to 200 international students who come to Conestoga to study in Conestoga alone. But I do work with many other colleges and universities across Canada. And we work very closely with international students. So what we are doing now is, as a part of my support to my Ukrainian community, we and my team, I have offices in Ukraine and I have my team working out there. We are supporting the Ukrainians to fill the paperwork and assist them throughout the process. That is one. And second, and since I'm based here, I'd love to be a part of the community and support Ukrainians when they come here. And I'd love to, since I've been in both of the worlds and I've done, working with newcomers most of my life, and especially for the last 20 years, I'd love to be here and coordinate and help and support as much as I can from my side. So first, what we are doing is one, supporting the Ukrainians out there. I do a daily Zoom session with me and my team every day, and we have from 9 a.m. every day, Monday to Saturday, we have a Zoom session where all the Ukrainians who have questions, who are filling in the form, they cannot go ahead at some issues. So we talk to them, explain them, and we give them a realistic expectations of a realistic situation out here, what they can expect, right? There's some people who might be good for a rural setting. There might be people who might be looking for a big set, for Toronto or big cities. There might be some from information technology workers or some agricultural workers. So we're giving them their feedback on what they could. If they have friends or relatives, that's good. If they don't have, then we advise them. So basically, we are giving the whole circle from, we are in touch with the people who are from the initial starting. We're helping them with the process. And we are also guiding them if they do not have any relatives, what are the expectations about Canada, right? I mean, especially for Waterloo, it's very expensive out here. As a temporary location, it is fine. But if it is somebody from, who doesn't speak English and is planning to live here, then again, housing is very expensive out here. So this is, we're giving them the information, we are educating them throughout the process. So while the whole process of the visa application is in, they are making up their minds where to go, especially the people who do not have any friends or relatives, right? They're looking at the community support, and every day, I am overwhelmed with the support we have here in the community. I was shocked when Michael, one of my Ukrainian friends, introduced to Lisa and Steph, and I was shocked, like, oh my God, this is out of the blue. There are almost about 50 plus families who are willing to support, Ukrainians, and many of them, like I have a Ukrainian connection, and Natalia and Marina, I think, who's here, right? We have Ukrainian roots with us, and it makes sense. But for Canadians who never even had any contact with Ukrainian before, and welcoming them to your homes, your personal boundaries, it is phenomenal, and I really appreciate you all with that. And I'm looking forward to work with all the host families. So what we were discussing with Steph and Lisa was, host families for you. For many of you, it is the first time, and what we would love to have and support you as well is, just to have a Ukrainian Russian speaking person from Eastern Europe be a bridge between you and the host, between you and the Ukrainian family. So it makes things much more easier for you, right? And and again, as Tim mentioned, many Ukrainians are coming here for some time, and if they feel comfortable and if they are successful out here, most of the education, Ukrainians are very well educated, and especially many of them have education's information technology. Ukraine is very popular, not just for wheat and agricultural workers, but information technology. Waterloo is a great place for them here, right? And many educated people. So we are working, and as I said, and just to give a feedback about what we were discussing with Steph and Lisa yesterday is about why are the Ukrainians not here? So as Tim did mention about the process, so the government of Canada is working on things based on, because the regulation, the new program was only announced on the 17th of March. It's just been less than a week. So there's a lot of background ad hoc decisions which have to be made. And also one of the big, and also very important to understand that it is not just bringing in people, loads of people in the airplanes. There is a process of vetting, verification, checking in the criminality and all that. There is also a lot of background work going on. So this takes time. Unfortunately, people, first they have to be in Poland, then they have to submit the application. So the usual timeline is a person submitted the application and then they receive a biometrics in instruction letter. So basically after they submit their application, they have to submit, they have to go to Canada visa VFS Global. There's a company which works, the Canadian government works with VFS, and they have different locations across Europe. So this is a visa or biometrics collection and a passport collection center. So the first, the applicants have to submit the visa, and then they receive a biometrics instruction letter. They have to go to the website of the VFS or call the VFS and then request an appointment for the biometrics, for the fingerprints to be done. But what is happening, unfortunately, is because if we just consider Poland, there are more than 500,000 Ukrainians now in Poland, right? So there is a limit to the capacity of the biometrics, what can be done. So Poland, as of now, the next 3 to 4 weeks, all the dates are already booked in. So the government is coming up with mobile biometric units, but again, there's logistics and the whole thing has to be planned. So that would take another 1 or 2 weeks probably to consolidate and get these things moving on. So as of now, first submit the applications and get the biometric state. So there is a capacity, right? So probably maybe 150 to 200 biometrics might be done in Poland, in Warsaw. That is the only location where it is in Poland, I believe, right? So it takes time. So after the biometrics, then the government of Canada, IRCC has to go through the whole applications, the criminality, the verification, everything. And it takes about 3 to 4 days to also check in and give a decision on the visa applications. Is it a positive or is it just a negative decision? But again, in humanitarian situation, it's most likely be a positive. But again, they have to do the due diligence. They have to get the fingerprints. They have to make sure that the person does not have any criminality and they're bringing in safe people here to Canada, right? So there's a process to it. So first, submitting the application, biometrics, that is where there is the whole delay because of the limited space for the biometrics. Most of the Ukrainians who were able to submit the applications and get the biometrics will be in the next flights coming in. So the next problem is after the Ukrainians have given the biometrics, so they receive a letter from IRCC saying that, congratulations, we have received your passport. We have approved your decision. So to go ahead with your visa, we require your passport. So now this is the second hurdle. So what happens is the Ukrainian who, the applicant who received this decision, he has to submit again the passport for the visa sticker, the TRV as we call it, the sticker in the passport. So they have to submit it at the visa center and the visa center has to courier it back. So that's another 4 to 5 days. So the whole process at least takes about 7 to 10 days to get started. So the program was officially announced on 17th, and then we have a huge shortage of biometric dates. So that is the reason why you are not really seeing a lot of people coming in. It is in the process. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will see, many Ukrainians flying in from Poland and from all the other European countries where the biometric centers are open. Unfortunately, because of the safety concerns and the war going in Ukraine, all the biometric VFS offices in Ukraine are closed. So Ukrainians have to travel in these unfortunate conditions across the European Union to submit the biometrics. So this is all taking time. So probably in the next 2 weeks, we will have people coming in. So, Steph and Lisa were saying, like, we're already ready. Where are the people? There are no Ukrainians coming in. So you will see them in the next 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, you'll see them. Yes, please.
Yeah, and when we chatted yesterday, you mentioned that there was kind of a hierarchy of needs for the Ukrainians coming in and choosing where they're going to find where they're going to live, right? Or generally geographical area that they're going to come to. You mentioned the first hierarchy was?
Right, it's basically like to understand where they are going is like the job opportunities where they are. They look at big cities, but again, they'll have to understand the expenses, right? And again, if they're coming to a small city, the first is rental expenses, and that is the biggest support what we are seeing from the community, from what has started with the small community in Vermont is huge, is an effort to support the Ukrainians. So the first is housing, rental. The second, once they come here is, getting the paperwork. They all want to work and start with their life. So the second is employment, right? So housing and the second employment, these are the 2 things we'll have to look into and support the Ukrainians when they come here.
Great. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a quick question for you. Does the employment have to be like certified employment, or can it be like babysitting or other kind of cash jobs, like starting to build decks and fences and things like that? Or does it have to be like jobs that have paper trails for, if I don't know about the taxes, but like governmental processes?
Yeah, well, we have a government representative here, so by law, it has to be, it has to be official. So there is nothing in any country in the world, there are cash jobs. There's no question about cash jobs. It has to be legal.
Okay, thank you so much.
There was a problem. I didn't hear what was said the last minute. There was an issue. There is a job bank website too. I'll post that.
Exactly.
Yes. Gotham,
Yes, please.
we were discussing at our meeting the whole idea that, we can come up with 5,000 homes and we can come up with 5,000 jobs, but unless the Ukrainian families know about it, to come to this location. So making our presence known and trying to find those pathways of not only engaging with the Ukrainian community locally, but somehow engaging with it in Europe, and looking at potential partnerships or opportunities that if we're going to rally, because we are, I was going to say something, but we're doing huge amount of work, and the population and the community is rallying together and offering so much support. And this is why we've been able to grow so fast. It's not only from your support, but because everyone else is seeing how big we've been growing, and they've, all these partnerships, United Way, the Regional Waterloo Immigration Services, YMCA, they're all reaching out, the Rotary, they're all reaching out to us and saying, hey, we want to work with this. We want to build on this. And I think it's such huge excitement, but how do we make sure that all the things that we're doing gets recognized as a place that we are a safe place to come, right?
Yeah, well, to be honest, Canada is a safe place, and especially Waterloo. I live in Cambridge in Rivermill community, and at times, my wife always loses a key somewhere, and we leave the house open and walk for 1 or 2 hours. It's indeed a very safe place.
Don't say that online. This is being recorded. Lock your doors now.
That's why there's nothing out here. You can just walk around. So to be honest, it's a very safe place. The only concern for the Ukrainians out here is, if, as Tim said, are they coming in for a short term, right? And are they coming in for a long term? So if they're coming in long term, what is the strategy? Will they be able to afford buying a house here? So these are the concerns, what they are looking at. But again, yes, the first thing is, housing. If we have the housing setup, which you already have for the first 3 or 4 months, 2 to 4 months of their stay, they will definitely be happy to come here. But the question is, it's again on a long-term, short-term and a long-term plan. And they're also, different type of Ukrainians who are coming in. They might be Ukrainians who are well off, well educated, who have the funds to support. And, they would probably want to come to Toronto, Waterloo areas. There are also Ukrainians who are from middle class, lower middle class. They would be, intimidated with the cost of life here, and they might probably be looking into rural areas where they have job opportunities and the cost of living is much lesser.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Larissa?
We can make ourselves visible. For example, Facebook. I'm, for example, a member of the Facebook. I posted now in notes. Very often people over there asking where to go, what would you advise, who knows where to go, which provinces are better, where more jobs, where more, like where it's warmer, because they are from Ukraine, they're afraid that it's very cold in Canada. So we could answer those questions. We can say that yes, here in Ontario and Waterloo, we have so and so for you ready, something like that.
So just to add what Larissa was saying, we have a Facebook group here. Mikhail, I think Doroshenko, who's in touch with Lisa and many other members here are already in the group. So we have a Facebook group almost about, I think more than 1,000 people. So we can promote the Facebook group as as an official And I would, if there are any of our Canadians who would also love to join the Facebook group, and also, we could definitely promote. I talk to 100+ people every day. My team's out there also talking. And once we can put out in the social media, there are people who will come and who can contact and who can talk and understand what we have to offer here. It's just that, it's from the perspective, as Tim said, short-term and long-term, right? It's people are thinking, they are in the process. It will take another 1 or 2 weeks for them to decide where to come. And meanwhile, if we are really interested to go ahead and showcase ourselves as a destination to come here, and we are ready to help, we could definitely do it. Social media, unfortunately, today this is the only option. Through social media, through Telegram groups, to Facebook groups, to WhatsApp groups, and live sessions, what we do every day, that is what we can help.
Thank you. And I just want to jump in. I'm going to let Shannon talk next, but maybe we need to get some of our tourism or tourist students and professionals to do some videos. What makes up Waterloo region, why, Ukrainians should come to Waterloo region, what support networks do we have that we're building up, and get that out on Facebook, right? And use those. And then we were thinking about potentially having that video available, that someone just going on walking tours around the city and stuff, and just so new Ukrainians come, they can see and get a feel of where they are and visualize where stores are instead of just having a list. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, because that can go in the marketing or communications breakout room. But
there is a very beautiful, excellent video of Waterloo as a technology hub, and I use it all the time when I'm talking to prospective international students and when I'm doing my meetings with Ukrainians, especially when I see somebody who's from IT industry or mechanical automation industry. I do show them the video. It's a great video, and it really showcases Waterloo region as a destination of choice.
Great, thank you. Shannon, do you want to say something?
Sure do. First off, I just wanted to recognize how heartwarming it is to see you guys bring this together all within a month, and looking like you have a huge response on here. I work at the Waterloo Catholic District School Board in elementary, and I have a little bit of a suggestion for a low-tech solution for how we can let people know about coming to Waterloo region. And I'm wondering if it's possible for us to start a little bit of a pen pal program between students at schools, sending like a self-addressed envelope ready to come back with a pen and everything. That if we can get it to some of the relief groups where the refugees are, and establish some connection where, they could find a child the same age and they could start writing. So they might even choose to come to the region because they already have some familiarity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Absolutely. And that's something, maybe Gotham, it could be through yourself, because you have your connections to your staff that are there, and that potentially, and I'm not saying trick the kids, but if the kids write a letter, one of your team members scan it, someone there prints it, you know what I mean? And working that way more quicker, right?
Yes, and there's also a Ukrainian Congress here, Canada Ukrainian Congress. It's a nonprofit organization based in Toronto. And, they're doing a lot of, they're spearheading the whole community efforts out here, especially with the donations and all that. And we could definitely connect with them. Michael Doroshenko is actually trying to have the chapter of Canadian Ukrainian Congress here, as I understood from his words. Nothing official as yet, but hopefully they might have some Waterloo chapter out here. So opportunities, but again, the situation is most of the Ukrainian families are displaced, especially who are going to come. They are in Poland, they are in Germany, they are in Austria. They are with very limited opportunities to kind of wait for a long term. So they're all in the process now of applying, and we are looking at a window of 4 to 6 weeks before there'll be a huge impact. So so whatever efforts we are doing when it comes to advertising, showcasing Waterloo, it should be from today to have the to reach out in the next 2 or 3 weeks, because after 2 months it will no longer really make sense doing that.
Yeah. And upon arrival, I know I happen to work in a kindergarten, and my kids have been very busy making flags and hearts that are blue and yellow and starting to write messages of welcome. So I'm hoping to look for sort of a place where we can send our messages and that they might get to some of the newcomers as they're arriving.
Yeah, that's great, Shannon. So one of the things we want to be discussing, and we'll have a breakout room now, but we'll discuss it later, is support circles. But then that's also looking at, how do we show solidarity for the Ukrainians coming, but also the Ukrainians that already exist in Waterloo region who are feeling tension, and we were talking about hate crimes for our Ukrainians currently that are in Canada and our Canadians. And looking at how do we, fill a whole driveway or a whole lawn full of these little signs from the students every time a new Ukrainian family comes with a child. So I think there's tons of opportunities for this, the solidarity of doing this. And if you want to join one of our groups, come join us. Just let us know.
All right, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna?
Yes, hi. I hope you can hear me because we're driving, but I thought I would attend anyway. I have a quick but complicated question. If the family is considering to move permanently and could potentially apply for refugee status, is there, is there a safety net for them that if they're refused a refugee status, they still can stay on the special visa that they have, or does one cancel the other, or is it still kind of up to discussion? Because I think the big fear about applying for refugee status is that if it's denied, that there is a deportation that is potentially could be there, and then difficulties with travel. So even for families who do want to stay permanently, I wonder if there is that pathway already in place. Thank you.
I'm going to take a shot at that. I wasn't sure, and Gautam is such an expert. Right now, the issue is getting people here as fast as possible, and as far as getting their children in schools, and as far as work permits, even that work permit that's going to be there. The work permit was originally supposed to be a year or two. We've extended it to 3 years. So it's more important to get people here safely and letting them get their kids in school, let them get jobs and work. And then in that next 3 years, we'll figure out the process. The refugee status is still too cumbersome to come. And so that temporary visa that they're using, that stripped down version of the temporary visa, gets them here the fastest. The other program was a permanent residence, pathway to permanent residence program. That's the one that if you had relatives here already, that was being used for this first batch of people that have come in already. They did that. They have everything in place because that wasn't the stripped down program. But we're still encouraging people to do the faster way to get them here safer, and then work out how they can stay here, because that refugee status would just simply take too long to do. A lot of times, if you think about bringing people over, if it was the last batch, if it's Afghanistan or Syria, it took a long time, and people were living in camps and displaced for a long period of time before they brought people here. Gautam said the numbers that are leaving so fast, we just want to move people as fast as possible. So the short answer is we want to get them here first, and so that temporary visa is the best pathway to staying here.
Yeah, and just to add what Tim just mentioned, so the government of Canada already has a PR process, immigration process in place. So it's basically like when people come here, the government of Canada has a point-based immigration system, express entry, and there are pathways, the federal express entry program and also the provincial express entry program. The federal express entry program, Canadian experience class, most Ukrainians will be able to apply for the Canadian experience class or the provincial nomination program. So Canadian experience class is a point-based system where points, when a person, for age, education, work experience, language abilities, when they complete 1 year Canadian work experience, they can apply through the Canadian experience class immigration program, or if they have an employer here willing to support them through the provincial nomination program, this gives them 600 additional points and they can apply through the provincial nomination program. So once they are in Canada and if they have good English skills, young people, it's very easy. For older people, they will have to go through the provincial nomination program because that will give them an additional 600 points. So there is a pathway place, but the government is also coming up with a family reunification program. And I hope, again, I think it is logical to have a special program for the Ukrainians sooner or later, just a question of time.
Okay, great. So we're going to move now to our next updates. And so this is going to be updates from our team of volunteers that have been hardworking. We would have started off with Lisa, but currently she's off tonight celebrating the birth of a new child in her family. So that's all exciting and great and amazing news. And so, but I'm going to do a quick update for Lisa's team, and just basically, so we have a form on our website that people have been completing, that if they have interest in the idea of creating a home or space for displaced Ukrainians that are coming, Lisa would follow up with them to see what stage they're in, what various other like you want to put down how many bedrooms you have, maybe what restrictions you might have, and do you have stairs in your house, so people that have mobility issues might not want to have that house. So we're really trying to cater and get to know the people that are applying and really bring them into our community and really help them to feel that they're not alone. So we're working very closely with them. We're also working very closely now with other entities and organizations that have experience with housing refugees or providing housing for refugees for Syrians or Afghan, and utilizing their experience to help the people that are considering housing or providing spaces or homes for the Ukrainian displaced Ukrainians, so that we're now able to build up that skill level and that comfort level with these people. Because in the old way, the people had months to walk through and figure out, get comfortable, understand the process. And this time you might only have a week or a couple days before a Ukrainian family is placed in your home with you. So if you're interested in that, you can go to our website and fill out that form. Again, this is not, signing up saying you're absolutely going to get a family, but that you would like more information and you would like to, learn more about the process. I can't necessarily say for certain, but we are looking at having an event on April 7th, and that would be in partnership with Open Spaces. So currently Open Spaces is an organization that finds homes temporary homes for refugees, and it'd be around a 3 or 4 month time period. So again, we're looking to have an event on April 4th for those people who are considering offering homes for displaced Ukrainians, that they can come and speak with other families who've gone through this process before and create, a good support family for these people hosting. So that's currently where we are with the housing. We are constantly in touch with Waterloo Region Immigration Services and other organizations from regionally. And so there won't be much updates for housing in there, but what we're hoping to do, since Lisa's not there, is discuss other types of housing. So one thing we're looking at is temporary housing on farms. So there is options that farms can put 3 houses. There's cost and there's money to this, but they can build 3 houses on their farm property, which would then offer job opportunities as well as homes for Ukrainians that would like to work in the farm industry or with farm animals. And because from what we've heard is that many people from Ukraine, that's what they have a lot of experience, or they connect deeply with the earth and farming and agriculture. So we're looking at it as potentially that as a way. So people would like to explore that, as well as, the housing group could also be looking at, contacting every hotel or contact every motel and getting them to open up a room. So again, this is about exploration. The housing team will be an exploration of potential opportunities to finding more homes, so that, next week, we not only say we have, 60 people that are going to offer up homes, but that we have 100 hotels willing to let people stay there or 100 rooms in hotels with allowing them to open up for like 2 or 3 months. So again, let's explore and think outside the box in that group today. And then we're going to have Lindsay. You can present on yourself, and that's going to be merging kits and donations. Or Mallory, actually. Lindsay, why don't you do kits? And then Mallory, you can talk about an update regarding the donations team.
All right, so for kits group, for those who don't know what kits are, these are essentially baskets that are ready to go and fast to get into the family's hands so that they have basic supplies. So these are things like toiletry kits, these are school kits, and then a welcome basket, which includes familiar foods and snacks for Ukrainian families. As for an update for that, things have been stilled recently, as so many of these items are based on needing to be purchased new. We cannot accept financial donations, nor do we want to. We don't have the liability to do that. So we have been very much stuck with how can we get, you know, a brand new backpack or gently used backpack into our hands and then to the families. It is moving now. We have volunteers that are going to be calling churches and programs like the Lions Club and Rotary Club to see if they're interested in, you know, collecting themselves or putting finances towards that they will go and buy items. If you are interested in making phone calls, please do let me know. We have a few people who are doing it, but we do not have enough. And I'm awful on the phone. So anyone who can take that off of me will be fantastic. I will also make an update. I know we talked about where to put it in. I don't know where to put it in, so I'm going to stick it in now. We recently visited Euro Foods to collect food items that would be familiar. I have to say this was the best experience I have ever had in 7 years of working in immigration and refugees, of how fast they were willing to give us items at a discount. Within 5 minutes, we had a large discount under our belts that we could use towards food and the option to have larger discounts in the future. I highly recommend, and I would love to see a group of us be able to go there and to say, you know, hey, we're from the Waterloo, we're not collecting things for them today, but you know, you've been fantastic and we're showing solidarity in purchasing groceries here, because this was the most beneficial visit I've ever had. And I'm very thankful to the people that allowed us to purchase these items in the first place. So yes, please, Euro Foods, it is on Highland Road in Kitchener. And I will share some information on that tonight, I believe, into the Facebook group, because I would like people to support them in what they're doing. Yeah, so I think that's the majority of the updates. If anyone is interested or has gently used items for school kits, please do let me know and I will start gathering now, as thankfully we finally have a space to put them in. Thank you, Barbara Nowak, if you're here. I believe you are. Thank you. So that's the end of kit donations tonight.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in, Lindsay, because we are moving so fast, and it usually seems like every second day we are readapting and tweaking our programs based on our connections with the partnerships of across the region, as well as our connections with the Ukrainian community in the Ukrainian Orthodox St. Sophia's Orthodox Church. And yeah, so it's always tweaking and it's always adapting. So then, yeah, like you said, the new program hopefully is to work with the service organizations, churches, and Rotary clubs to help them better understand what's actually needed or wanted from the Ukrainian community, and ensure that energy is being spent and money is being spent in a way that's most beneficial. Maybe not most, because we don't know everything, but is beneficial in a way that, from our experience that we're gaining from the Ukrainian community, is what they need and want. And then what we can also do as part of the partnership or relationship is actually then working to ensure that those items get into the hands of the Ukrainians that are coming, because we are so engaged and connected with that, with many people in that community that are hearing about these new families coming, that, you know, we can help ensure that, or we can help try to ensure that those items are going to get where they need to go. Yes, Jessica. Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Just about what Lindsay was saying, that you were having some challenges right now with the funding side of things for backpacks, or you can't, you don't have the funds, or you can't hold the funds.
We don't have a bank account, and we're not necessarily looking to get a bank account. We believe that money, the donations can be sent to a local charity or a not-for-profit.
Okay.
And then if we could just work with them to get these kits made, I think it just easeability of us then trying to track money and that if, yeah.
There's a lot of issues that go into collecting money yourself.
Yeah, and being reliable for it.
People are going to immediately ask. Yes, people want to see and what we're doing and where it's going and all that. And that's not something that we can provide, nor do we necessarily want to.
Okay.
Ask these Ukrainian families to say, hey, here is me with my basket. That's not nice for them either. And I will mention that the first baskets are going out tomorrow and the second group of baskets are going out Sunday. So it's moving fast and faster than expected. But finish your question because I interrupted you.
No, you're great. So for donations, if you are not looking for monetary donations specifically for this group, I'm just finally getting my second warehouse, so I might have a little bit of extra space for right now. So I also wanted to help out in as many ways as we can. So would it make more sense for us to use whatever money we would like to use it and purchase enough things for kits, or purchase the things that you guys need? Because I feel like respectfully, sometimes maybe there's going to be a disconnect if we're kind of relying on so many other people to do everything. Like, who is there somebody that is right now looking at the donations and kind of pointing at, like, we need this from this person, this from this person? Like, I feel like, is it hard for you right now to know that, like, are you getting a million things of toilet paper, no backpacks, and everybody wants to give toothpaste, but nobody wants to give deodorant? Like, how?
Yeah, Jessica, we're just gonna kind of jump in to that. But you can jump in. There is going to be donations breakout room to discuss this. But the way we're seeing this as, we would understand what would need to go into the education kit or the hygiene kit, and then a church or a service club or something would take on the whole kit. We would.
If I can update,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that has somewhat already been sorted. So the plan is for certain churches to take on certain items. So for example, we'll have one church that is responsible for welcome baskets. For that, they know they need $200 to go towards flower pots or sunflower seeds or whatever. And then we have those items. We have transport people who will bring those items to us, etc. In terms of for school kits, things like that, our hope is that we will have backpacks donated specifically because those are the most expensive part. And then our hope is that a church will buy some pencils and the congregation will drop that off, and they will be responsible for, let's say, 20 elementary kits, if that's what they decide to do.
Okay.
And then we'll just pick up those 20 elementary kits and take them. But I would recommend you join our donations group because there's a lot more than what I can just say quickly now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Mallory, did you want to mention about the donations, an update regarding where we stand on collecting and holding and storing used donations of items?
Yeah, so I've been working this week to try to find a centralized location where we can store and sort and pack donations. Ideally somewhere central in the region. So, folks like me up here in Elmira, Wilmot is quite far away. So we were thinking somewhere in Kitchener or Waterloo. So it's kind of within a 20-minute drive, no matter where you are in the region. Unfortunately, I haven't had any luck with that. I've explored several different avenues and reached out to several different people that I know. So it's looking like we might be going with a plan B, which would be having some smaller sites across the region. Some people have indicated that they have space, which is fantastic. So I am looking forward to chatting with the donations team in the breakout room tonight and getting the ball rolling with that. We were, originally thinking it would be a place where people in the general public could go drop off stuff, and then hosts or the Ukrainians, when they come, can kind of go shop for free. In this instance, I think having the smaller sites, we will still be able to get a lot of items out there, but we may have to sort of take requests. So a host could let us know what they need, and then we will pack and prepare it for them and make sure it gets to them. So, if that's the case and that's the avenue that we do go with, we'll definitely be looking for people to help with that. Not just people sorting and taking inventory and identifying gaps in our inventory, but people to help pack the kits belongings and things for the hosts and for the Ukrainians. And as well, we'll need some people who can drive around and maybe pick some stuff up from various smaller storage facilities and bring them to the families that need them. I also am expecting a family to be joining me here in my home in the next couple of weeks. So right now I'm co-leading donations with Lindsay, but we'll be looking for somebody who can take over for me when my family arrives, because I would like to make sure that I'm really super available for them. So that's what we'll be talking about in the breakout room for donations this evening.
Great, thank you. Jean, do you want to say something?
It's Rick. I did. If you're looking for a vacant space, get in touch with the commercial real estate agents, and they can get in touch with their property owners, and you'll find that there will be quite a bit of generosity there.
Yeah, we've been trying that, as well as working with economic development, and it's just not something that a decision can be made very quickly on, especially if there's some sort of lead for them to fill that space. On top of that, if there's a potential for them to be making rental income or lease that space out, then obviously that's a first priority for them. So actually this afternoon, one of my contacts did speak with one of the large company that owns a lot of industrial space in downtown Kitchener, and they were not willing to help. So.
If I could highlight, I think my hand was next as well. My name is Jean Demira. I'm a member of the Waterloo Regional Police Auxiliary, and they every year do a toy drive with Knights of Columbus. That Knights of Columbus does have a van, as well as our 75 volunteers strong. The coordinator for the Waterloo Regional Police Auxiliary, I don't know if you know much about the auxiliary, but we're 100% volunteers. And we are there out to help the community for 350 different regional events every year. So if you go to Constable John Patton with Waterloo Regional Police, like there's a lot of different things that the auxiliary may be able to help with as well, with the variety of different resources that we have. So it's something else to consider. Even welcoming events related to the community as well, and safety and security, and it's all free, and it's there to serve the community. So there's the annual toy campaigns and other campaigns. There's a backpack challenge for coming to school as well. So you could talk to the coordinators that do that annual backpack collection for school kits, and talk to the coordinators there. Catherine Conboy from Waterloo Regional Police Services is also amazing at those different activities. So let me know if Mallory, you know how to get a hold of me, if there's any support or context you might need there. I can definitely put you directly in touch. Thank you for all you do.
I think that Jean, if maybe that's something you would be willing to take the lead on, maybe we can chat a little bit more. I know our team is pretty much at capacity, but those things that you mentioned are very important. So maybe we can discuss some of those options.
Definitely, for sure.
That's great. So another team that we have up and running is Eric with partnerships. Eric, are you here?
I am here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll try to be as brief as I can with this. What we're trying to do with the partnerships group is reach out to churches, charitable organizations, service clubs, this sort of thing within the region, with the specific goal of forming partnerships with them. So some of the goals we're looking at there is just to help people understand what the needs are, find out how they can support with them, if there's any way that we can coordinate groups among one another to work together. And we also, there was something I saw that I wanted to speak to in the chat, and I have lost it now, it figures.
Well, we're looking for that, Eric. I'll just jump in. So some ideas we're thinking about potential partnerships is meal prep. So we potentially look at, we're working with the Ukrainian community. If there's people in the Ukrainian community that would like to work with local churches in their kitchen to prepare some more ethically based or ethnic food, Ukrainian kind of based food, and then have it frozen for when our guests come, and that could be an option. So we could help bridge those gaps of those communications, and then offer, if the churches would like to, or other service organizations would like to cook meals and freeze them, we could help get them into the hands of the host families. And there's a bunch of other ways that I think we could bridge the gap and help churches or other service organizations better understand, how we can better relate and support. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, and I found the thing I was looking for, which was John and Betty, you were asking about how a church would sign up to be a donation group for kids. That would be through the partnership group. So, and otherwise Stephanie pretty much nailed what we're working on. So that is our bit.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. And so Eric is going to have a room set up for if everyone wants to talk about what cool partnerships can we create, and also who wants to make phone calls, who wants to make the database of all the different organizations we want to touch base with. And this came about because this past week we've received an overwhelming response, one from the Rotary as well as some other from local churches, just saying, hey, we know we want to help, we just don't know how to do it, and then we don't know how to do what we want to do and get it in the hands, if we're doing kits, in the hands of the Ukrainians that are coming into our community. So we felt that this would be a gap that we could fill. So the next would be Lillian Dunstall, if you want to talk about businesses and relationships with business partnerships and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have reached out to all of the Waterloo region business organizations, so the boards of trade and the chambers of commerce. We've sent out forms for the businesses to fill out. The forms have things like for donations, whether it be their time, money, items. We've specifically asked for things like SIM cards, electronics. We've had one business step up and offer the use of 3 of their computers. We've had 2 businesses step up with job opportunities. So what we're doing right now is the form is online, and we are monitoring that form and then reaching out to the businesses that do volunteer to get all the specific information. And if they're looking to offer employment, then we're going to be working with the Working Center and some of the other employment centers and funnel them through there. For some of the other items, we'll be working with the variety of groups that we have here. CIBC has stepped up and is going to be working, or is offering to work with the Ukrainians as they come in. If they need banking assistance with banking, setting up forms, they're setting something up. I know that Wilmot is the New Hamburg branch, and I believe they've been speaking to their head office. So that may be something you want to look into. And that's it for now, Stephanie, unless there's something else you can think of.
No, and you're also looking for people, right now you're doing a shout out for what businesses can do, but you're also looking to build your team. So you're also looking for people to help create lists in the database and get.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, Stephanie, because I keep forgetting to ask for help. And I need help. I need help badly. And I know it's easy for everyone to get involved with the kits and stuff, but getting involved with the businesses across the region will have a big impact. So if you can help, please come into my room and talk to me. I have a feeling I'm going to be alone. So please.
But you know what? And Gotham said, one of the major things is housing and employment. And if we are set on ensuring that, we, with all the support we build up, and, we want to be a caring, and we're doing so much in order to be a space that people recognize that they want to come, we have, working with these businesses. And then also the idea would be working with larger entities or industries, and helping, to get these industries involved and getting them to do something industry wise. That's pretty exciting for finding larger opportunities like that.
Actually, I did want to mention that for those of you out there, you may want to speak to your employers. I know one of the companies here is offering to do payroll deduction if people want to make contributions. So that's something that, you may want to talk to your employer about as well.
Yeah, Steph, just to add in, I would definitely, like, you're not alone. I would love to join you as well. Since I'm talking to the people, like, might not be to all the Ukrainians coming in, but I'm daily talking to all the people. I have an understanding of, the professions, their education, work experience, and I would definitely work closely with you because we know what the people are coming in, what are the skill set, and what are the jobs looking in. So I'm definitely in your team and willing to.
You are my new best friend. Thank you.
And then we also have some other teams. I would say Dens.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Yeah. We just created like a new team recently because we need to look for some information like regarding the resources which will be available to the newcomers, and also organizing all of the data from the other groups. So like we just created a different group of volunteers who are willing to work with who are willing to help us to work with like getting the information and organizing it. I don't know if Steph
Yeah,
wants to
so
add.
we've had there's been a document being created by Dan, who works at the Region of Waterloo Immigration Services. He's doing it on his personal time, and in there he's recording different services and programs, businesses and such that they're able to translate into Ukrainian or Russian. And as well as Michael from the Facebook group and the Ukrainian community, he's also been working on a spreadsheet and a listing of looking at what resources are available for when the Ukrainians come to Waterloo region, where can they access a doctor's office or a dentist, and where there's someone there that can translate. So what Denny is looking at right now is looking to help build, a few people that would be excited about helping to create this document that will be given to the Ukrainians, Ukrainian families when they come, so they know, what resources are available. And then also Denny is talking about that we have information management. We have a lot of information with all the people that are coming in and partnerships that we're working with. And so we've just opted into a new program to track all this information. So we need help entering this data into our new program so we can track it and better understand what things volunteers want to help with, as well as what partners want to help with. So if you want to join his team, I think it's called information management or data. No, it's called the resource document or something like that, right?
I'm good with data.
Like
Let me know where should I go.
Yeah, I think it's called the resource document. I don't know, Neil.
Staff,
what do we call it?
Staff, it's room 7, information management.
Information management. Perfect. Okay. Then we have Doug. Doug, this is your spotlight. So Doug's not really officially part of our group per se, but he's a partner, and I've worked with him in a lot of organizations and groups in the past, and there's been expressed interest in what he's doing, and so we're opening for room for that. Doug, you're here to make a mention?
Sure. The WRCGN stands for Waterloo Region Community Garden Network. And the network's been around since 1997, working with local gardening. The term really threw me off gardening for a while because I thought it was sort of like around growing flowers and things like that. But we're really looking at food production and being able to encourage local food production. So we're working really very much focused on the equity, diversity, and inclusion lenses, working to reduce climate change and by improving opportunities for local food production. So expanding local community gardens. We have 35 gardens now in schools, and lots of opportunity to expand those gardens. 95 gardens in the region altogether, and a few more that aren't on our roster. So it should be about 98 by the end of the year. We have 3 acres of land that's available this year for people who want to garden and produce food for themselves and for Ukrainians. It'll be a balance, sort of a hybrid model. And we expect to have 16 acres coming on stream next year that are very, very close by. 10 acres is on a bus route, and these are really exciting opportunities for people to be involved in things that might help them feel really, really good, being outside, being able to do things for themselves. So that's what we're looking at. and be happy to talk up those opportunities with you.
Thanks, Doug. And also the last room would be communications and marketing. So all the things that we're doing, all the amazing partnerships. Oh, no, not, sorry, Neil, you're shaking your head. I see you.
I think that we've got circle supports.
Circle supports, yes. So
we've got Ukrainian local resources, local food group, and elementary school registration assistance.
Okay, yeah, so we've opened up a room for talking about schools and joining schools in the process of that. That's brand new. We just opened it up if people want to join there. What's the other one?
Okay, you've got Ukrainian local resources.
That's going to merge that with data.
Okay.
The information management, join the information management in that one together, please.
Okay. And then there's local food. And that was just talked about, I think.
Yeah, that's just Doug. And then the circle of supports is really looking at there's no one going to be leading that group. Again, it's talking about how can we offer more resources and more supports, either mental health, childcare, what things can we be looking at to making sure that when people are coming, that they feel connected. Oh, can you, Margaret? Okay. And then for mine will be communication and marketing. Our group, our team, everyone's doing such amazing things, but we need help relaying this information, either on newsletters, social media, website, you name it, having and sharing momentum, the feeling, what we're doing. If you're a great storyteller or journalist for press releases or whatnot, jump into that room. I'm going to be doing the 2 rooms, housing and communications. So when I'm not in either room, you'll have to just kind of coordinate yourself, take some notes, make sure someone's taking notes, but that's it.